do politics or anything. I'm not into politics, but I think a really great example of just not being humble and acquiring hatred from it is our current president, Donald Trump. And I have nothing against him. I'm like I said, I don't pick sides. I don't really do politics because I think it's a big waste of time. But
Right.
he obviously is successful in his own way. But because Trump is so blunt in a lot of the things that he says, even though some of the things that he does is good business wise, because of the fact that he's so blunt about everything, he acquires a lot of people that dislike him, you know?
Yeah,
And that's
obviously.
and that's what Mr. Malfo does, is because of the fact that he's blunt and doesn't really have any reservation in what he says, a lot of people get turned off from that, even if it is true. And then when he does come out with a video that is speaking the truth, because of his previous actions, nobody wants to give any credit or even believe it.
No,
So,
gotcha.
and I find myself to be a credible person. I think most people would say that. And so when you asked me that, that's why I shot back what I said, that in this instance, he was speaking, true things in a couple points in that video. So, but
Right.
so anyways, but yeah, sorry for any confusion or anything like that. Definitely has
No,
no reflection
no.
on you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I just felt like you should have seen that. Just as far as our group goes, because if you're going to be number one, you stand above everybody else. I just feel like we're better than both of them. To be honest with you, I had a good conversation with Robert Charles, and I kind of got the same impression from that side of it. And I went, Robert lives in Houston as I do,
Right.
and I just kind of went, I'll just stick with Luke. I'm getting ready to break out here shortly, as soon as we get a couple issues dissolved. And I just thought it was kind of distasteful. One guy's blowing up the other, and you're going, eh. But anyway, yeah, I already expressed my opinion, but it's just my opinion.
Sure.
So
No, I
I
got you.
mean,
What did
we're all good.
what did Robert have to say?
Uh, well, I'll keep it civilized. Yeah, Rob doesn't care for him. All David's a chiseler.
Yeah.
All David K is. And he just kind of steered away from and got away from him as a whole. And
Yep.
I just kind of I'm with him because he's successful.
Right.
But I was using him as a mentor. That from time to time I have a conversation with him, and I went, what's up with David K? He's just, I don't know. There's something weird about him, but anyway, I'll figure it out sooner or later.
Right. Yeah, it is what it is. It's too bad. But yeah, speaking of just Robert Charles, in my opinion, I was kind of sad that he kind of got out of everything, because he kind of started his own little group and everything. But Robert, in my opinion, besides myself, is probably one of the more intelligent people out there that did start a phone flipping group.
Right.
And see, the other competition out there, they won't even speak about competition. I'm not afraid to speak it because I'm trying to be truthful. I'm not trying to, single anybody out. But Robert Childs, he was pretty intelligent. We had some really intelligent conversations. He's kind of like me. I think that's why me and him get along a lot. He's kind of always on to the, next thing. Like, I'm not going to ditch my group or anything, because I love doing this. And obviously, there's new students weekly, so I got to keep up with this. But Robert, in the same way, he's ever learning. I mean, he's always trying to improve himself. He's always trying to do better. And he does really good work. He's a smart guy. He's a former police officer. He's very good with words. He's a smart guy. So I give him
Yep.
credit, regardless of where he came from. So, if he spoke good about our group, didn't speak so good about somebody else, he's probably right, even though I didn't hear the conversation. But that's cool to hear, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was all good. I had heard about you. I didn't hear about your group originally a year ago, but when I stepped off into the phone flipping back in August, I started doing the free YouTube videos, and I went, okay, who do we go with? So anyway,
Sure. Well, here you are.
yep.
Yeah, we still got to do that video because you guys hit 10,000 a month. I mean, you guys obviously knocked out of the park. You're at 10,000 a month in like 3 months. I gotta do a video with you guys. But anyways, there's a couple more people in here, so I want to jump into the group chat tonight.
Yeah,
So
no
what I
problem.
wanted to talk about with everybody tonight was dealing with negative people in your life, whether they're family or friends. And I want to go around and everybody here that's in the group chat tonight, and I want everybody to kind of touch on perhaps somebody specifically or an event where you dealt with this. And I kind of want us all to just exchange experiences because I know this will help people on the chat tonight and people who watch the replay. So I guess what I wanted to do is I wanted to possibly start with Jeff first. I don't know if you've got a microphone, Jeff, but I know you commented on my post. But basically, to kind of get everybody up to speed, I had made a post last week, and basically what I had said is that I wanted to apologize to everybody. I know that I'm still pretty responsive to questions and stuff, but I haven't really put out a lot of member-specific content, and the reason being is I've been a little bit distracted in my personal life. I try and keep my personal life separate, but I've had a lot of negativity come in, actually from family, and then I was also in a relationship with somebody who kind of destroyed who I was. I felt really defeated and kind of overcame that, and what I've realized is it doesn't matter if it's friend, family, or a loved one. If somebody's a negative influence on your life or they're just dragging you down, you have to get away from that. And it's extremely hard because these negative people or these toxic people, 9 times out of 10, they come basically disguised as a friend or family member or even a loved one, and people don't see it till it's too late. So I just kind of wanted to go around and ask people if you've had any kind of experience like that, what your experience was, and then kind of how you got through it or got over it or got away from it. So if you're open to sharing, Jeff, would love to hear kind of your story and how you got through it.
Can you hear me now, Luke?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm actually in the car now, so I'm going to have to keep this a little bit brief. But yeah, I went through a bad breakup. So when you had posted, your situation, it definitely kind of hit home with me. It was about a year and a half ago. And I, really kind of coming from a place of starting over again, pretty much with everything. And with the phone flipping, like right now, I have my real estate license, which I'm trying to put into play. But for anybody who knows, it's one of those professions where you got to get that ball rolling initially because you literally have no money coming in until you close on something. So the phone flipping really just kind of makes sense right now to have a revenue stream coming in on a monthly basis, which is, kind of where I was coming from. But like yourself, Luke, it really, the breakup really hit me hard, real hard. And basically last year was, kind of getting my health back. I was drinking way too much. I guess you could literally say an alcoholic, and then when the breakup happened, it was, getting really, really, really bad, real bad. I mean, just at a dark place, that my health was in the crapper, so this year is just really about the financial, regaining that. And I really was, looking for somebody who I felt like I could trust, because there was different flippers out there, with courses and everything, Luke. So I liked the fact how you had kind of built yourself up, and I especially liked the fact that you got involved with the real estate aspect too. So that was, all kind of appealing points to me, to, look to your direction. I can't hear you anymore, Luke.
Hello? Yeah, I can't hear nobody too.
Hey Luke, I can see you talking, dude, but there's no sound. No sound, bro. I can kind of see you talking.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah,
Sure.
there you go.
All right.
Yep. Like
Sorry about that, guys. I guess I muted myself. For those of you guys that joined that are newer, what we're talking about, look at me, I'm blushing like, geez, how embarrassing. I've been doing this how many times now? We are going
First
around,
time's the worst time.
right. We are going around in the group talking about negative experiences that we've had, how to overcome them, whether it's friend, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, breakups, and just kind of how it affected you, how you realized that you needed to get away from it, and then how you overcame it. And we're just basically going around with everybody in the chat because I think this is going to be a really big help for people with mindset, because we talk about phone flipping all the time, which is great, but one of the biggest things in business is just having that positive mindset. So I wanted to go ahead and ask somebody else now if they've ever had an experience like this. So I was wondering, Gunnar, do you have a microphone? Gunnar's actually from Wisconsin also. So I'm hoping that he's got a microphone and maybe he's got an experience he could touch with us on.
I can't really say I have anything, an experience with someone personal. As far as like my family, my girlfriend and all of them, they've all been really supportive. I saw your video on Sean recently, and he was someone I really looked up to, and, obviously that went south. So
Sure.
I heard that hurt quite a bit. I don't know how much you know about that, but he actually had a course. So he was my mentor for a while before I joined your course. And
yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to Sean, I really don't know what happened or why he started doing that, but basically I've gotten over 10 messages. Just, I guess, for anybody watching this or missed yesterday's video, there's a guy out there named Sean Gonzalez. He's been basically joining all the phone flipping groups, and he's been taking advantage of like newer flippers out there. And basically he'll invoice them for, a phone, or basically he'll invoice somebody for a phone to pay him. Then he gets paid, then he doesn't send him anything. And the messed up thing, Gunnar, is, obviously Atlas Mobile has no reason to lie about anything. He actually tried to scam Atlas, sent them an empty box and everything. Yeah. And then Jacob Hanna, one of the other phone flipping, group starters out there, he's newer in the industry. He tried to scam him too. So just very interesting and odd things. And I think the whole course and YouTube channel behind Sean Gonzalez, it's actually a little more elaborate than most people think. So basically, by getting a little YouTube channel going that he got, having a couple people in his course and stuff, that gave him some credibility, got him some trust, and then he went outside. Obviously, he's not going to scam his course members because that would kind of concave everything from the inside out. So what he did is he got that validation, that credit, and then he started scamming people that weren't obviously in his group or people that he didn't really know. But unfortunately, when you start scamming everybody starts talking, and then stuff like that happens.
It actually it was kind of the opposite of what you just said. The course members were the ones he took advantage of.
Really?
Yeah, I don't,
I'm not in his course, so obviously, like, I wouldn't know. But the people that messaged me, I guess I never asked them if they were in his course. But that's basically what I was told, is by over 10 people, kind of same situation, sending invoices, not sending a phone, or getting invoiced and then he doesn't ship anything.
Yeah. Well, what he did was I didn't lose any. I didn't buy any phones from him and get ripped off, but he got over 5 figures from the course members. There's probably 7, 8 people. And he basically just told us, that he got extra phones. He was going to give them to us and all that. But,
Wow.
He spent a good month of his time, doing one-on-ones, and
right.
I learned quite a bit, and he'd give us, like customized marketing material, like high-end stuff and all that. It was very.
So he basically built all of you guys up to trust him to the point of, why not, and then ran away with it.
Yeah, and then he popped back up a week ago in his group, and I guess he got more people, and for whatever reason that caused the public outcry. But he got over 5 figures before that. I know one person in the course lost $7,700 alone, and he said he got his money back through chargebacks, but I don't know what Sean walked away from, and I can confirm that it's his real profile. Because I've been on 2 or 3 one-on-ones with him, and that that's exactly who he is. So it was pretty bizarre, because he had an actual thing going, with the YouTube and the course.
Right. the thing that I saw that struck me as odd, and I don't mean to get off subject on tonight's chat, but obviously the mindset stuff is important that we're going to talk about tonight, guys, but I don't want to see any of you get scammed. So Sean Gonzalez is this guy's name. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull his Facebook profile up, and I'm going to share screen with you guys. I don't want to have anybody get scammed in our group, in our free group, but this is the guy, and unfortunately, he's basically just out there doing exactly what Gunnar just said. He basically builds trust with people and then tries to ship people phones and doesn't pay. And yeah, it's a terrible situation. But this is the guy. I'm not friends with him. This is Sean Gonzalez. He's a known scammer. If you actually look on his profile, in a hilariously sad way, speaking of him being a scammer, there's actually one of his victims posting publicly on his profile, letting him know that, hey, I've sent you multiple messages. I paid you through Square. Don't ever pay through Square, by the way, guys. And it looks like the invoice was actually for $550. So Sean just scammed somebody out of $550. This member was from another phone flipping group, not ours, thankfully. But it's just really sad to see that. So if you guys see this guy or see any variation, or you see another name with Gonzalez in this guy's face, stay away from it. It's probably too good to be true.
I can tell you right now, he has other profiles and account in groups, because when I believe it was in Jacob Hanna's group, and there's the big post about people talking about it, I made a comment on how, how patient and deliberate and all, set up it was. He sent me a screenshot of it, and with a bunch of question marks and all that, because he's been giving me the marketing material still for the last 2-3 months since his scam. I just let him give it to me because it was good stuff, but so that's how I know he has other accounts. So
for sure,
be on the lookout.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad, Gunnar, that you haven't had anybody personally in your life kind of affect you in that way, but something to talk about. I guess if that was kind of a letdown for you, I mean, the best thing to do is just to kind of, either find somebody else or just kind of move on and just kind of separate, from that. Because obviously you don't want to be affiliated with somebody that does things like that. And, sometimes that's the way it is. Like I said, sometimes, as I said earlier in the chat, I think this was before you joined, negative people or sometimes bad people often come just basically disguised as friend, family, or mentor sometimes even, or like I said, loved one, boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's one of the worst things. It's a huge letdown. Like you said earlier, you were really disappointed to hear all that, and then you saw it yourself firsthand. So
yeah, now that you say that, I did have she was more of my girlfriend's friend, but we were pretty kind of close too. We lived together for a couple weeks on separate occasions, but she ended up stealing a bunch of phones from me and all that while I was fixing her phone for free because she didn't have any money.
That's horrible.
Yeah. But.
Oh. Lori here is with us. I hope she's got a microphone. I don't know if she does. I was gonna unmute you, Lori, but Lori, you commented on my post last week, and you kind of said you wanted to touch base on something, and I wanted to hear what you had to say if you have a microphone.
Oh gosh, now I can't remember what I was referring to.
We were talking about bad relationships and how sometimes they completely drag you around from business and they cause you to lose focus. It was just in regards to my post. You had said you wanted to kind of speak out about that. I think you had referenced something about being married 52 years or with someone. I'm not sure exactly where you were going with it, but does that kind of ring a bell?
No, I haven't been married for 52 years, but I have a master's in social work, and I come from the criminal justice system. So my approach and how it has been drilled in us in the prison is to not trust anyone and to keep people at arm's length. And while I'm very friendly with people, I am very, very slow to allow them into my inner circle.
Right.
And in some ways, I think that that's very healthy, but in other ways, I think that's really sad that we have these toxic people. And that's, Luke, you're exactly right, because what they do is they approach you like a shark, and you don't know what they're totally up to. They, they're backstabbing. They smile at your face, and they are sweet and wonderful and can't do enough for you. And then they ask for something.
Right.
So, I've had this in my life, in my personal life, in family. And what I say is, just because you're related to somebody, if you would not accept treatment like this by a neighbor, then don't accept treatment like this from your sister or from your brother or from your cousin.
Right.
Just because you happen to be related to them. And I see so many people give, thinking that, oh, this is going to make the difference and stuff, but it doesn't. It's really, really sad. And, I'm a lot older than most flippers. I'm 62. And so I guess, having been on this planet for so long, I just see people, it's always the nice ones. It's always the people with the good hearts that just get slaughtered. It's very, very sad.
Right. No, exactly. So have you ever dealt with any of this personally? Like if obviously, like you said, you've been around on this earth for a while and you've seen things, I'm sure, that a lot of us have either not seen or maybe will see someday. If there's a time and a place or a person or an event that you can think of that was probably the worst or toxic situation that you ever had to deal with, what was it and how did you get away from it?
Yes, I had two nieces. They happened to be twins. They found out that my mother had money. We're not talking a lot of money. We're talking $50,000.
Sure.
They spent a lot of time with her, getting her to trust them. And as she got older, she would say, well, let's, you guys, here's my ATM card, here's my PIN, go get some money and we'll go have lunch. It was always $300 that they withdrew from the bank.
Wow.
They never gave her the change from the $18 or whatever to buy a few sandwiches. And this continued to the point that other people noticed the problem and called the police for adult protective services. In that county, there was a recent case where a son stole close to $1 million. And so it was a big case and the son ended up in prison. So now the authorities are alerted to this and they had this on their mind. What the twins did then is they moved my mother to one of their homes in another county.
Wow.
Literally overnight.
That's insane.
And all saying it'll be fine. We'll be able to keep you with us. All the things that that an old lady wants to hear. You're not going to go to a nursing home. We're going to take care of you and all of that. So when 6-8 months later, my mother happened to pass away. And I was one of the people listed in her will. So I told the attorney that I wanted a full financial accounting from the twins on what they did with my mother's money. And it took 3 years. They still came up with all these excuses because they used that money to live on. And so then the attorney even knew, she wrote my attorney a letter saying, I realize that there's a lot of inconsistencies on the part of my clients, and I have advised them to seek legal counsel with someone else. She was essentially saying these are big liars and I want out. But the twins are willing to offer Lori $1,000.
Wow.
So they were willing to give me $1,000 to go away. Well, I don't need $1,000. I just wanted to be a thorn in their side. And so I had my attorney write back saying, no, thank you. I thought my mother was worth much more than $1,000. And so I've essentially cut them off. I mean, I have no contact with them. And, to go from practically raising them, and then here we are, and it's sad, but in another way, I'm glad that they showed their true colors, because now I know who I'm dealing with.
Right. Well, and that's
So,
kind of exactly what I said. And this is an old saying, and I literally think it might be an old saying, but it's timeless. And that is that negative people, or people that bring you down, drag you down, or drag others down in your life that affect you, they literally 9 times out of 10 come disguised as friends, family, or, somebody who you love or you're with. And you don't really see it typically until it's too late. And even then, it's hard to cut that person off because you have been close with them.
Right. You're so in deep. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, thanks for sharing that with the group, Lori. I really appreciate just opening up and being, open about everything. I'm going to ask somebody else now in here to see if we've got any more experiences. And then I'm going to kind of touch on this topic, how it relates to our lives and business. David, are you here, or do you have a microphone? I think you're in your car also.
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have a negative experience, traumatic event, or possibly negative person that you've ever had to deal with in your life, whether it's friend, family, customer, somebody that you kind of got to know? If so, what was it, or who were they, and how'd you get away from it?
1979, I graduated high school. That tells you roughly how old I am. I grew up in a completely gang-related neighborhood. We gang fight every Friday night. Didn't matter what color you were. I got arrested, needless to say.
Wow.
And I was given a sentence, go to prison or go in the Navy. So in order to get away from the toxic neighborhood, which was a ghetto neighborhood in Southwest Philadelphia, it's all Italian neighborhood. In order to get away from it and to see the other side of the world, I went, there's no place better in the United States. And everybody that I grew up with, they're all dead. They're all gone. They're in jail, needless to say. They're failures. And I just couldn't see myself being a failure just because they were. So the prison part wasn't going to happen. So I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and just moved forward. I got out of the Navy. I was special ops in the Navy. I can't talk anymore about it, but and everything was success as soon as I got away from the gang. And the gang wasn't out to help me. They just wanted me to be part of the gang. Well, and I didn't want to be in prison with the gang. The gang's all dead now, but that was it. That was my way out, was the Navy. Not that I wanted to go there, but and I just couldn't wait to get away from the negativity. I just couldn't stand somebody telling me, I can't, you can't, you don't know how. Yeah, who taught you that? That negative attitude, I even got it from my dad, and I couldn't wait just to get away from it. And when I got to the Middle East, believe me, you have a different perspective on your own life, and you can succeed at anything. You just got to try, keep going forward, don't give up, keep that positive mentality. Tomorrow's another day, keep on going, don't give up. You'll make yourself a better person all the way around. Period.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, David. I had no idea about any of that. That's incredible. That's a really powerful message. I hope everybody who watches this, I hope that really resonates, because what I have always said, just kind of touching on what you said, I grew up in a small town, and that's kind of all it was. It was always people fighting, drinking. I mean, people, when I was like 13 and 14, that's all it was. I mean, all the 13 and 14-year-olds, they were drinking or smoking pot. There was always fights outside on the football field, whether it was during football hours or not. And my thoughts are, it doesn't matter how poor you are, what kind of mindset you are, or where you're positioned in life, you always have some kind of opportunity to get away. For you, David, obviously, it was the military, and obviously maybe you didn't want to go at the time, but it ended up being the best thing for you. And I just look back at just how I grew up. I also had a mother that tried to hire a hitman to kill my father, put a life insurance policy on him, so that way when he died, she would obviously benefit from it, and then split it with her new lover, hitman, whatever. None of that happened. My dad's still living today, but I grew up with so much turmoil, so much trauma, drama, whatever. And then on top of it, what made things worse, what I think is worse about growing up in a smaller town, is nobody in that small town really realizes what they're actually being influenced by or what they're actually surrounded by and how important it is to get away from that. And I can just say this, me personally, in my own hometown, I have a lot of people that I would say respect me and look up to me, but I wouldn't necessarily call them friends. I don't really associate with people. I don't affiliate with them because most people around here, they have taken that small town conflict that always happens, that basically small town, I don't have anything to do, so let's cause trouble. And they've taken it with them as adults. I know a lot of friends of mine growing up, they're in jail, they're in trouble. And it's like, if I see them, walking or, walking, they're in their 20s and they're still walking. They don't have their driver's license or cars or anything, but I'll see them walking. I'll pull over to the side of the road. I'll say hi. I actually just did that last week. A friend of mine named Tori, I was really close to them when I was like 13 and 14. Although I never really got sucked into doing the things that they were doing, I was kind of around it. And I just kind of watched from the outside in because my parents were pretty strict with me, even though they had their own kind of issues. And I seen him walking the other day, and he always kind of had this walk to him. And I stopped, and I'm like, I know that walk from anywhere. And I rolled down my window, and he looks over at me, and he's like, Luke Deutschlander? And I'm like, yeah, man, how's it going? And I shook his hand, and I felt bad for him because I looked at him. I'm like, it was like 90 degrees out, and I'm sitting there in my car. It's air conditioned. And I was actually just coming back from a real estate meeting, just talking about buying another rental property. And I just felt bad because, it's like he's got nothing. And back when we were 13 and 14, he had nothing. And, he's been to jail multiple times since, we grew up. And it's sad because most people never grow out or get out of it because they don't realize all the negative stuff that's coming in, because it's really hard to find bigger or better or successful people to look up to when you're from a small town. And that's what's so great about reading books and the internet. It just kind of takes you away from that, even if you don't have any immediate people in your local area. But that being said, guys, all of your experiences really moving, really powerful. And why this is so important for phone flipping and just any business or sales business in general. Sales is all about having a good attitude. I mean, we get a call right now and somebody says, yeah, hey, I seen your ad on Craigslist. Do you pay cash for phones? Yeah, I pay cash for phones. What do you want? Or yeah, I pay cash for phones. Sales is all about being upright and basically being positive and, kind of selling them on it. I mean, when you are on a sales call, you want to be the highlight of their day, even when you let them down and say, yeah, I can only give you $100 for your iPhone 7 Plus. You want to uplift this person. You want to be somebody that people want to be around, even if they don't even know you on the phone. And so when you're around all this negativity and you're getting dragged down and you're like, yeah, what's the IMEI or what's the gigabyte on the phone? And you're just like down in your life and just everything is just down. It's going to affect your sales. It's going to be a huge impact. And on top of that, it's going to distract you. I can't stress enough how important it is to not be distracted. If you're constantly getting distracted in business, we all know, I mean, we've all done it, even though I do a pretty dang good job at it, we all get distracted. When we get distracted, we don't get anything done. And the more weeds that you've got growing around you, the harder it is to pull away from them or get out of that and just get rid of that distraction, that negativity, that drama. I'm sure a lot of us, if you guys want to drop a comment in the chat or if you want to even unmute yourself and just butt in right now, I'm sure a lot of us have had days in our lives, whether it's recently or in the past, where you've had one day, I'm sure, because I've had them before, where you're just so down because of something somebody else did or said, even if it was when you were younger, family, where you just don't get anything done. You just feel like you can't do anything. because they put so much negativity and stress on you and you really didn't even do anything. It's just that's the kind of person they are. But they're a friend or family member, so we let them get away from it. We let them abuse us, and we let them kind of dictate our emotions. Maybe you got a family member that you're always there for them, but then when you need them, they ghost you, which is, by the way, a form of abuse. Ghosting, just completely ignoring someone. It's narcissistic. So there's a lot of things that we need to kind of self-identify in our lives in order to be successful in life and just business. So that's kind of how all of this mindset stuff relates to phone flipping, because phone flipping, although once you get it mastered, and especially obviously you guys are in the course, we've all got each other to kind of talk about problems. Even once it's all figured out, if you're flipping a lot of phones, you're actually pretty busy, and you really don't have time for people who are dragging you down and people who don't support your business. It's just not a good thing. You don't want them around. So that being said, I kind of hope everybody got a lot of value out of this group chat. And I also hope that hearing everybody's experiences, that anybody out there listening to this feels inspired to get out there and do better. What I've always said is it doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter if you've been to jail, filed bankruptcy, been divorced, broken up with, you're single for life, forever loner, gamer, outdoorsman, whatever. Anybody can do this business. It's just really having the right mindset and then getting the right teaching. That's the most important thing. Like I said, I didn't have a very good upbringing, and, I do this so well that I teach other people now. And that's obviously a big thing. And a lot of people have had success with it. So it doesn't matter where you come from. And if you are in a negative situation, kind of like David just said, he had the option to go to prison or go to the Navy. He obviously chose to go to the Navy. But if you're in the ghetto right now and you've got like $500 to your name, or you got to sell some stuff, hop on a Greyhound bus. If you've got nothing to lose, you got no kids, you've got no girlfriend, you're just around the ghetto or you're around gangs, hop on a Greyhound bus, snap your phone in half, and just get the heck away from those negative people in that negative area. Because it doesn't matter how big of a flower you are. If you're surrounded by weeds, you're going to drown. You're going to eventually crumple and become wilted, and then you're going to become just like them, because you become like the top 5 people you hang around. So that being said, we'll probably conclude tonight's group chat. Just going to unmute everybody. I wanted to thank you guys for coming on tonight and also sharing some of your experiences. So thanks, David. Thanks, Lori, Gunnar, and then thanks for the other people that aren't on webcam. Thanks, Yuri, and just everybody here that kind of listened and expressed themselves tonight. So
Excellent call.
I do have a quick question. Just since you're in Wisconsin, I saw the video where you sold the bike. How many vehicles are we allowed to sell here in Wisconsin before we have to get a dealer's license?
Don't quote me on this because it's changed, but I want to say that it is 6 per year that you're allowed to buy and resell.
Okay. Do you normally do about that many, or?
Yeah, I usually do about, anywhere from probably 5 to 6, but there is a loophole to get around buying and flipping vehicles and motorcycles. If you have a girlfriend, you can put them in their name, and there's obviously nothing they can do about that. So
Yeah, no, double what you can.
Yep. Yeah, it basically just gives you a double. If you start doing more than 12, well, it might be time to try and get a dealer's license and, maybe get a little car lot. But I will say this, flipping cars and motorcycles, it's a very profitable thing.
Yeah, you're just telling by what they pay for trade-ins and all that.
Basically, yeah. Yep.
I just figured I'd ask because you're in Wisconsin too, so,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So.
Yep. No, if you ever need any advice on that, shoot me a message. So it's always fun flipping stuff. The only thing that's hard about Wisconsin is we have a limited time to sell certain vehicles and certain motorcycles, because obviously we get hit with snow. So that's our only disadvantage. But we get snowmobiles. I have flipped snowmobiles before. And if you can do that right, you can make money there too. So.
Yeah, people love their snowmobiles.
Yes, they do. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming on tonight and participating, and I will see everybody next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time again.
Thank you, Luke. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.